I know that you've already said that you will stop the ULEZ expansion, but what has concerned me is that you've also said that you will replace it with pay per mile.
So let me be absolutely clear for you and your viewers, I'm not for pay per mile.
I'm
not for pay per mile, but absolutely clear. What I did say to the Evening Standard was trying to say, look, this is a crazy thing to go and do. And then we were talking about all the other things that were available, but I'm not for, pay per mile.
A brown car guy. Brown car guy.
Daniel, great to meet you. You're one of the shortlists for mayoral contender from the Conservative Party. And of course, you've already spoken about ULEZ, but tell our viewers what you feel about ULEZ.
Well, thank you very much for having me on, and I'm really excited to be talking to you. Your channel has been an exciting kind of campaign tool against the ULEZ. And you're right to say I'm standing in this election in order to basically beat City Khan and roll back this ULEZ extension. It's a really cruel tax on hardworking people in the middle of a very, difficult set of circumstances. The average person traveling in and out of the ULEZ zone is going to pay £3,000-4,000 a year. £3,000-4,000 a year, that's an extraordinary amount of money at a time when people are really suffering. So I think we have to get rid of it, and we have to roll back as many taxes as we can on hardworking people. And this is just another really cruel one.
Now, like me, you're a journalist, you're also a tech entrepreneur, so I'm guessing that you approach the whole thing very logically and in a very methodical way. What's the sort of data and research that you've done yourself that proves to you that the expansion is not justified?
Well, first of all, I ask myself this question. If we want to make the air better, where is the pollution coming from? And 30% of all the pollution in the city actually comes from construction sites and diesel generators on construction sites. And that's why cities like Oslo have moved to remove diesel generation from construction sites. What has Sadiq Khan done? Nothing. So if you start from the position of where's the pollution coming from and how can we affect it with the least damage to hardworking people, you're not going to end up with the ULEZ extension. You're going to end up with doing something about construction sites. So where I've come from is exactly as you say. I've tried to analyze where the pollution is coming from and where we can take steps that hurt people less.
And one of the things, I know that you've already said that you will stop the ULEZ expansion, but what has concerned me is that you've also said that you will replace it with pay per mile.
So let me be absolutely clear for you and your viewers, I'm not for pay per mile. I'm not for pay per mile, but absolutely clear. What I did say to the Evening Standard was trying to say, look, this is a crazy thing to go and do. And then we were talking about all the other things that were available, but I'm not for, pay per mile. What I think we should do is to make life easier for people. A lot of people in London, they need their cars. They need their cars for work, particularly small business people. They need the cars to get in and do the shopping for their kids and ferry their kids around. So we've got to get to a place where people recognize that the city isn't only for one mode of transport, it's for everybody. Cyclists, pedestrians, those who take public transport, and yes, cars. And this war on motorists is going to lead nowhere except make people poorer.
It's interesting that you mentioned the war on the motorists, because this is a fundamental issue right now, because apart from ULEZ, we're obviously facing LTNs and 15-minute cities and all the rest of it. Now, in terms of those aspects, where do you think London, because, for example, recently, one of the councils, Lambeth Council, in addition to some already, have introduced emissions-based parking, which further penalizes motorists. Is that a fair way of approaching this?
No, I don't think that it is, and I think we need to make the city faster. We're moving around the city at the speed of horse-drawn carriages 150 years ago, and it makes no sense. We all have to move around the city, and of course, in certain parts of the city, it's wonderful to allow people to cycle. I enjoy cycling too. I walk in the city as well. Well, of course, we have to allow that and make it easy. But in other parts of the city, it's just not going to be possible for people because public transport is not available, because the topography is not quite right. Say, taking Croydon, where lots of hilly, countryside means that it's hard for buses to move around. People need their cars, and so this idea that we're making the city slower and making it harder for motorists makes no sense in a large city like ours.
And in terms of the Conservative Party, it's not hugely popular at the moment, as we know, and you're contesting against what some people say when he first came to power was a popular mayor. What do you think is the realistic chances of ousting him?
Oh, I think it's absolutely realistic, and I think that I'm perfectly placed to do it. Voters, when we ask them, say they're deeply dissatisfied with Sadiq Khan. We've talked a lot about traffic and transport, but actually people are deeply disappointed in his failures in policing, his failures in building the requisite number of houses, keeping people safe on the streets. So there's deep dissatisfaction with Sadiq Khan, and he polls way under, the Labour Party nationally. It is absolutely possible to beat him, and I think I'm ideally placed to do it because I think voters want something different. I'm a businessman and an entrepreneur. I'm bringing a different kind of, practical, can-do experience to the task, and I think people want that, and they want to oust Sadiq Khan.
So final question, because a lot of people have asked me this, is that if ULEZ does go ahead on the 29th of August, and say you do beat him in the mayoral election, which is next year in May, is it possible to roll it back?
Of course it's going to be possible. It'll be costly because Sadiq Khan will have gone on and spent a lot of taxpayers' money, but of course we're going to have to roll it back, and I'll do that on day one, turn the cameras off, so that we can get back to a city where everybody's welcome and motorists aren't penalised.
Excellent. Thank you so much for talking to me, Daniel.
Thank you for allowing me to come.
Brown car guy.
Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please hit the like button and share this video as well if you can. And while you're at it, check out these guys who also sponsor my content. I am deeply grateful to them because it helps me to buy new equipment, put fuel in the cars, and yes, buy a cup of coffee. You can do the same. Just go here or right here on YouTube. Just hit these three little dots down here and click on thanks. Make sure you're signed in first. My content is free, but this is how you can help me keep it that way. I may even send you a gift. Oh, by the way, watch this next.